Hi everyone, this is audapostrophe. Let's continue our game of LoveKami Useless Goddess on Nintendo Switch.
ごめんごめん。ちょっと失敗しちゃって。あれ
She tried to push away, but she couldn't support her own weight, so she had to keep leaning on me.
おかしいな。なんか、ごめんね。
Don't apologize. Clearly you are not okay. Your face is white as a ghost. And even as we spoke, I could see her getting weaker and weaker. Don't move. With my forehead almost touching hers, I could feel a feverish heat. It was clearly not from the dancing.
そう
You've got a fever. I told you to take it easy.
だって、こんなに苦しいの初めてだし。それよりも、顔近いよ。
Oh, right. Sorry. Her face was getting flushed with fever, so I released the protesting Akane. That's enough for today. You should rest if you feel bad.
はーい。
I pursed my lips and led Akane to her room. To her room while... What? Sure. After sending her to bed, I went and made some rice porridge and tea and brought it to her room. Akane, coming in.
どうぞ。
How are you feeling? She was lying quietly under the covers.
あんまり良くない。体もだるいし。
Akane was looking unhappy, and she didn't have any of her usual vitality. You lie still, okay? I brought some rice porridge. Can you eat?
おかゆか。ちょっと今は食欲ないな。
Can you just down a little? You'll feel better, faster if you can get some food in you.
じゃあ、ショウが食べさせて。
Huh? Me?
そうそう。できないでしょ。だから。
Yeah, fine. I'll feed you.
え
I sat down next to her and opened the pot. Open wide. I spooned up some porridge and held it out. Akane's already flushed face got even redder.
いや、食べさせてほしいっていうのは、ショウをからかうための冗談で、本気だったわけじゃなくて。
I know, but would you eat on your own?
それはそうだけど。
So, anyway, come on. One bite.
わかったよ。
Akane held back the hair falling over her forehead and opened her mouth. The enchanting gesture set my heart pounding even as I put the spoon into her mouth.
おいしい。おかゆなんて初めて食べたかも。
People mostly only eat it when they're down with a cold or something.
そうだね。神様が体調を崩すなんて普通はないからね。
Akane. Goddesses are supernatural entities. It was unthinkable for them to come down with human illnesses, which increased my worry over Akane's poor health. You'll be okay. I'll take care of you until you're all better.
ありがとう、ショウ。なんかちょっと安心した。
Feeling anxious about being sick was the same for goddesses as for people. She might be a goddess, but Akane was also a girl. Well, if I do this, I'll bet you'll feel even more relieved. I suddenly found my empty hands in hers, as if to comfort her anxiety. There, see? You're not alone.
ありがとう。
Her smile was somehow different. Looking at Akane's frail, pure, smiling face, my heart started to pound in my chest. Come on, you better finish this off before it gets cold.
ふーん。ショーは食べさせてくれないの？
Alright, just this once, okay?
やった。じゃあお願い。
Vroom. It was strange. I suddenly felt embarrassed to be feeding her like this.
ショー、もっと。
Hey now, not so fast.
食べ始めたらお腹空いてきちゃった。ほら、早く早く。
I tried to just ignore my feeling. I decided not to worry about it, and I fed Akane the rest of the porridge.
ごちそうさま。
She finished the whole pot of porridge. It was really nice to see her enjoying something I'd made. I'm gonna go put this stuff away.
待って、ショー。
She took my hands as I was about to leave. Something the matter?
えっと、眠るまでそばにいてほしいかな。なんて、ダメ？
The way she looked up at me from beneath her lashes made me feel oddly protective. There was only one way I could answer. Of course. I said, and clasped her hand. I'll stay right here and hold your hand until you fall asleep. Akane then closed her eyes. Guess there wasn't anything left to talk about. I would just sit and wait for her to drift off. Her hand was so warm in mine.
いろいろとありがとね。
I looked up at her barely opened eyes. Why all of a sudden?
ショーにはさ、ずっとお世話になってるから、俺が言いたくて。
I just can't let you be. Actually, I was worried I was butting into your business too much.
まさか、私はショーのことそんな風に思ったことないよ。
Thank you. No matter what happens, I'll look out for you, always. While I spoke, I squeezed her hand to reassure her. She returned the pressure.
ありがとう、ショー。
She slowly closed her eyes again and soon started snoring gently. Night, Akane. I stood up carefully so as not to wake her and left her in the room.
あかねさん、大丈夫でしょうか？
Inori had been deeply worried after hearing about Akane's poor health. Her concern had lasted all day. The fact that Akane hadn't got up since last night was making her even more worried. She'll be fine. Akane will bounce right back in it. I know.
とか言って、ショーもずっと心配してるじゃない。
I couldn't find a response to Micah's accusing finger. It was no good. I had been thinking about Akane since the day before. She had been at my side for so long, not having her there was unsettling. It was like there was a hole in my heart, like something important was missing.
そんなに心配なら様子を見てきたらいいのに。
Shouldn't we let her rest?
どうせもうすぐご飯ができるんだから、食べられるかどうかだけ聞いてきてよ。
Sure. Well, if you think I should.
おはよう。
Akane. Just as I went to go check on her, Akane came bursting into the living room. You recovered enough to get out of bed already?
もう大丈夫。完全復活。なんだ、もうすっかり元気じゃない。これなら朝ごはんも食べそうね。もちろん。お腹ペコペコだよ。そう。じゃあいつもと同じだけ用意するわね。お願い。どうかしたの、イノリ？
When Akane reached her seat, Inori froze, staring at her. Inori. Inori? She'd been so worried about Akane until now, I wonder what had happened.
あかねさん、どこかおかしなところはないですか？ おかしなところ別にないけど。むしろだるさが消えて絶好調なくらいだよ。そうですか。
Saying this, Inori fell deep into thought.
変な祈り。
Did something happen?
そうですね。確かめた方が早いかもしれません。
She raised her head and stared at Akane with worried eyes.
あかねさん、ちょっと人力を使ってみてください。え、人力を？
Is that a good idea? If Akane used her Jinriki, there would be a blackout. Inori had been trying to stop Akane from using her power, so I couldn't understand why she was suddenly doing the opposite.
問題ありません。むしろ、それで全てわかると思います。
Looking at Inori's face, I could tell this was no small thing.
使うけど、停電しても文句言わないでよね。
Inori nodded solemnly at Akane's words.
じゃあ使うよ。
Akane spread her arms, but nothing happened. Akane?
あれ？
Akane's voice was loud with shock.
なんで使えないの？
You can't use your Jinriki?
いくら使おうとしても無理みたい。やはりそうでしたか。
Do you know what's going on?
いえ、私にも詳しいことはわかりません。ただ、茜さんが持つ神様としての力が薄くなっていることだけはわかります。
Her power is weak? Is that normal? How could something like that happen? I'd never heard of it before.
私もこんな症状は初めて見ました。一体何が原因でこんなことに。ご飯できたわよ。ってどうしたの？
Oh, well... We told Micah about Akane's problem.
人力が使えなくなった？もしかして昨日の体調不良が原因？その可能性がないわけではないですが、何かもっと根本的なことが問題なんだと思います。
If Hinori, as a goddess, didn't understand the problem, it was hard to imagine we could be of any help.
まあ、いいんじゃない？
Well, what's that supposed to mean?
だってさ、どうせ考えてもわかんないんだよ。それよりも、私お腹空いちゃったからご飯にしよう。
Akane put a smile on her face in a show of courage. Although she was feeling better, we ate our breakfast in an oppressive silence. After breakfast, Akane locked herself in her room. Akane. I thought of the smile she made at breakfast. Although she was the one in trouble, she tried hard to put on a happy face. It made my chest hurt to think about it. We can't just let it be. I couldn't stand the sad smile on Akane's face. Real cheer suited her better. I have to get it back. I would return Akane's Jinriki along with her usual smile. As soon as I decided this, I started thinking of how to do it. As soon as I decided to help Akane, I started thinking of how to do it. I asked Inori to talk to goddesses she knew and got Micah to find out whatever she could on the net when she had time. They were both happy to help, things being what they were. That left me going to the library during the day and looking for clues on the net at night. But none of this turned up anything useful, and we just burned up time. Huh? I sighed as I walked home from the library, trying to shake off my thoughts. It had been another day of very little progress made. Maybe this will give us a clue. In one book about goddesses, I found there was mention of spiritual balance. It seemed like maybe right now Akane's spiritual balance was off and it could be causing her troubles. So then the problem is, what caused the unbalance? I felt it was unlikely to be her rehabilitation. If that was the cause, then there should have been some similar case with all the other Aragami that had been rehabilitated. But since there was no mention of that anywhere, there must be some other reason. For now, I'll just ask Maika and Inori what they think. Huh?
おーいショ
Akane came running towards me, waving her hand. Akane? Oh, what's up?
別にショーを迎えに来ただけだよ。
Meet me? How did you find me?
マイカから図書館に行ってるって聞いたからね。ここで待ってれば会えるって思ったんだ。
Yeah. Thanks for coming to meet me.
いいっていいって。どうせ暇だったからね。それにショーと一緒にいると落ち着くんだ。
My heart lifted when she said that. It made me happy to hear it so casually.
あ、どうったのショー。
Nothing. So, anyway, how's your Jinriki? Feel like it's coming back?
全然ダメ。うんともすんとも言わない。
Akane shrugged and laughed like she just made a joke. Sorry, I've been looking and looking, but I haven't found any clues on bringing it back.
なんでショーが謝るの？人力がなくなったのはショーのせいじゃないじゃん。ショーはいろいろやってくれてるみたいだし、むしろ感謝したいのは私。
Well, it's not done any good yet, so it's as good as nothing. I'll look into more tomorrow.
別にいいよ。私の人力が戻らなくても。
Akane interrupted me. What are you talking about, Akane?
だってさ、人力が戻らなければ停電も起きないでしょ。そうなれば椿ソーダってもう潰れない。ショーにとってもそっちの方がいいんじゃない？
She was obviously putting a positive spin on it. Don't be ridiculous. Of course I want to save the apartments, but that's no reason to just accept that your power's all gone. I couldn't accept Akane giving up like that. At the same time, I was upset at myself for how I was acting. I wanted to help her, but my constant failure was worrying at me. Are you really okay with not getting your power back?
いいわけないよ。取り戻せるなら私だって取り戻したい。でも私の力が戻るとまた停電が起きてみんなに迷惑かけちゃう。その中でもきっとショーに一番迷惑がかかっちゃう。ショーはそれでもいいの？
Oh no. So that was what she was worried about. So you might cause blackouts? So what? If you get your powers back and are about to cause a blackout, I'll stop you. I told you, no matter what happens, I'm by your side until the end.
そっか。ショーはずっと私に付き合ってくれるんだったね。弱気なんて私らしくなかったかな。
After she'd been trying so hard lately, it was nice to see a real smile on her face. It was a relief to see her feeling better. Exactly. Just when you were just like when you were sick in bed. Now you're just worried about your Jinriki. Just relax. I said it casually, on purpose, and Akane looked down and thought, well, let's get home before it gets late. Micah's probably getting worried.
なんでショーはそこまでしてくれるの？
Huh? Did you say something?
なんでもない。それよりほら、早く行こう。晩ご飯が待ってるよ。
I took Akane by the hand and we walked back home that way. Okay, I'm going to my room to do research. Call me when the bath is free. I hurried to my room after dinner was over.
ため息なんて珍しいわね。マイカ。
Micah came to sit by me while I was thinking in the living room.
何か考え事？人力のことならきっとショーやいのりさんが何とかしてくれるわよ。そうだね。あれ違った？てっきり人力のことを考えてるのかと。それも不安はあるんだけどね。今考えてたのは別のこと。それって 人力のことよりも大切な悩み事？悩み事なのかな。
It might be, after all. I couldn't stop thinking about Sho.
ショウはなんで私のためにあんなに一生懸命になってくれるんだろう、優しくしてくれるんだろうって考えてた。
No matter how selfish I am or how much I complain, he stays patient with me and just helps. He was working so hard to get my Jinderiki to come back, even though it would be better for him if it never did. It went beyond just nice.
なんでか。アカネは迷惑してるわけ？そんなわけない。けど私はショウの優しさが怖いよ。
Sho had been nice since we first met. And not just me, to Inori and Micah too. Sho was the same towards everyone, so clearly I wasn't anything special to him. I guess Sho didn't really think anything of me.
まあショウだからね。昔から優しかったわよ。けどね、アカネ、ショウがおせっかいを焼くことはあっても、ここまで他人の事情に突っ込んだのは初めてよ。え？
So, maybe I was special? When I thought about that, something deep in my chest suddenly felt warm.
でもそれはだって椿荘のためじゃ。本当にそれだけだと思う？
Micah stared into my eyes. I couldn't find any words under that gaze.
マイカはショウが何を考えてるのかわかるの？まさか。長年一緒に暮らしてきたけどわかるわけないじゃない。そんなのは本人に聞かないとわからないわよ。はあ、だよね。
My shoulders slumped. Why did I suddenly feel so disappointed?
本当にアカネらしくないわね。聞きたいことがあるなら直接聞いてみればいいじゃない。それはでも。
I wanted to know what Sho thought of me. I wanted to know why he was trying so hard. What was I to him? Just another resident, or...
アカネ、遅くなれば遅くなるほど聞きづらくなるわよ。そうなる前にスパッと聞くのが一番よ。何より普段のアカネならそうするんじゃないの？
When Micah said that, my heart took a leap.
確かにそうだよね。こんな風にうじうじ悩むよりそっちの方がずっと私らしいよね。
I just couldn't stop worrying about what Sho thought of me. And it just wasn't like me to hang back.
ちょっとショウのとこ行ってくる。行ってらっしゃい。
I ran out of my room with Micah watching after. I backed away from the computer and lay on the floor. Even when I could find stuff about goddesses, there just wasn't anything about problems like Akane's coming up. I never thought it'd be easy, but this is ridiculous. It was like trying to catch smoke. It was harder than I thought. But I still wanted to help as soon as possible. Akane. Since when had I started thinking so much about her? Before I'd realized, I'd find myself watching her when she was in the room. I thought about her every spare moment, wondering what she was doing. Quit it. I had to focus.
そう、私だけど入ってもいい？
Akane? Oh, come on in.
お邪魔します。おへえ、ここがショウの部屋か。
There's nothing much to see. But anyway, what's up?
それは。
It wasn't like Akane to hesitate so much.
ここまで来たんだもん。迷ってないで行動しないと。ちょっと待ってね。
Akane's eyes had been wandering around the room, but then she slapped her own face.
よし、気合入った。ずっとショーに聞きたいことがあったの。
What is it?
ショーはさ、なんで私のために そこまでしてくれるの？
Huh? What do you mean?
私はショーが私のためにいろいろしてくれて嬉しかった。でもさ、それって私のためじゃなくて、ただ単にショーが優しいだけで、私のことなんて何とも思ってないかもって考えたら怖かった。
Oh, well.
だから聞きたかった。ショーがここまで私のためにしてくれるのは優しいから？その延長で私のためにいろいろとしてくれるの？
No. What? Why haven't I been trying so hard for Akane? Because I just can't let it go? Well, that's one reason. And I really do want to save Tsubaki Apartments. That's another. But right now, I just want to be there for her, no matter what happened. I just want to be by her side. And the reason for that is...
俺は何？
Standing there like that, trembling as she stared, I found Akane so lovely. And there it was. I wanted Akane beside me, smiling forever. And so, it must be... I like you. Well, the reason I've been so kind to you is because I like you, as a girl. You want to know what you are to me? Well, it's obvious. You're a very special girl to me.
本当に？ショーが私のことを好き？
Yes, exactly. I like you, Akane. Does that make you feel a little better?
できた。安心できたよ。
Akane nodded strongly, choked for words. For some reason, my own self-consciousness or Akane's reaction, my hands suddenly clenched and my mouth went dry. So, what about you?
私？
So, I told you everything. Now it's your turn. Tell me how you feel about me.
その、私もショーのことが好きなんだと思う。
You think?
だって私は恋なんてしたことなくて、どんな気持ちが恋かなんて知らなくて。でもショーといると温かくて、ずっとそばにいてほしいと思って。だけど私は荒神で人に迷惑ばかりかけて、だからその。
Oh, I don't care about that. Aragami, goddess, none of that matters. I like you, Akane Tsubaki, as the girl you are. So, I'll say it one more time. I like you. I want you to be my girlfriend. There was a long pause. It dragged on for seconds, maybe minutes.
私もショーのことが好き。ショーの恋人になりたい。
As if some dam had burst, Akane looked up at me and smiled shyly.
これからもいっぱい迷惑かけると思うけど、よろしく。
Oh, I don't mind at all. I was so happy. I told Akane how I felt. She told me how she felt, and now we're a couple.
なんか緊張が解けたら一気に気が抜けた。
I smiled as Akane's knees folded and she slumped to the floor.
まさかこんな風に自分の気持ちを自覚するなんて思わなかったよ。
Yeah, I wasn't exactly ready to make a huge confession today either. But I had to admit, it seemed fitting.
ねえショー、そっち行っていい？
Oh, of course.
じゃあここもらいい？
Hey now. I thought she was just coming closer, but she squeezed her hips in next to me.
なんかこうして隣り合って座っているだけなのに幸せな感じがする。
Really? The scent of her there, so close, made my heart pound. She leaned closer, almost as if she could read my mind. Come on now, don't crowd me.
いいじゃん。ショーはもう私の恋人なんだからさ。ほら、うりうり。
I couldn't help focus on Akane's soft body pressing against me. Well, if that's the way you want to play it. I wrapped my hands around the base of her neck, and she let a surprised yelp.
ショー、何してるの？
Payback. I've been wanting to do this for a while now.
負けるか。
Akane pressed even harder into me, irresistibly. We went back and forth like that for a while, our faces getting closer as we wrestled. We must look like idiots.
そう？私はこういうの好きだな。
It was just a silly moment, but she looked so lovely. Hey, is it okay if I kiss you?
キス？
Is that a no?
いいよ。むしろどんとこい。
All right. Here I go. I stared into her eyes and moved my face towards hers. It was a light kiss, our lips barely brushing. But even that was enough to set my heart pounding, entranced by Akane's charm. So, we kissed.
なんか胸がドキドキする。
Akane? The second Akane had cried out, the lights in the room went out, and things went pitch black.
あれ？
Is it a blackout? We searched out each other's eyes in the darkness. Akane, is your Jinjiki back?
わかんない。でもこの停電って私がやったと思う。
Yeah, it looked like it happened just when you were getting emotional. At any rate, as soon as the power came back, I felt it'd be best to get Inori to look at Akane. After a while, the power came back, and we went into the living room where Inori and Maiko were already waiting.
あ、やっと来た。今の停電って茜の人力？多分私だと思うけど。
Inori, do you sense anything about Akane? She stared intently at Akane, then blinked her eyes rapidly.
驚きました。茜さんの神様としての力が戻ってます。一体何をされたんですか？
Well, we didn't really do anything in particular. I couldn't really think of anything that could have helped. It just seemed to have returned on its own. It wasn't as flashy as it had been, but it certainly looked like Akane's power was fully restored.
まあいいじゃない。無事に力が戻ったんだし。それより仲良くくっついちゃって。二人は付き合い始めたの？そうなんですか？さっき告白して付き合うことになったの。おめでとうございます、茜さん。ありがとう、祈り。
But you sure figured it out quickly, Micah.
あれだけくっついてれば見ればわかるわよ。とりあえずおめでとう。茜のこと大事にしないと許さないから。
Got it. I'll be sure to make her happy.
そう。なら私から言うことはないわ。おめでとう、茜。マイカ。ありがとう。
After that, Micah smiled tightly and shrugged her shoulders.
茜さんの人力が戻ったことといい、嬉しいことが続きましたね。明日はお祝いに何か作ってもいいかもしれないわね。
A recovery celebration. A good idea.
じゃあお寿司食べよう。はいはい、準備しておくわね。
I didn't understand why her power was back, but seeing Akane smile like this again was wonderful. A few days had passed since Akane's Jindaiki came back, and our relationship was moving along quite nicely. And a couple of other things had changed too. Akane had started to become real clingy, and whenever she had a spare moment, she'd pop into my room. You really stick to me like glue.
だってこうしてるとショーを身近で感じられるからね。ショーだってまんざらじゃないでしょ。
Well, I guess not. As Akane squeezed in closer reading a manga, her whole body quivered like it tickled. What are you reading?
マイカに借りた恋愛漫画、何か参考になるかなって思って。
I sneaked a look at it as she read intently. The main character and heroine were on a date. A date. You know, we haven't gone out, just the two of us, since we started dating. Hey, Akane, why don't we go on a date? Akane looked up at me in shock.
デート？行きたい行きたい。
Akane's eyes gleamed with excitement, and I was glad I asked. Is there someone in particular you'd like to go?
行きたい場所か。
She put down the manga and folded her arms in thought. It was a spur-of-the-moment question, but she was so serious. We don't have to decide right now. We can think about it later.
決めた。商店街に行こう。
Huh? Don't you want to go someplace more special? It is a date after all.
いいの。初めてのデートはこの街にしたいから。ダメだった？
Akane cocked her head and looked at me with upturned eyes. There was only one possible answer. Well, of course not. Actually, there are shops and places I'd like to take you to.
よかった。なら決まりでいい？
Yeah, of course it is.
じゃあ商店街デートに決定。もう今から行く。
Sorry, today I've got to help Micah after lunch. Let's go out tomorrow.
そっか。マイカの手伝いがあるなら仕方ないね。
Akane looked disappointed, but she didn't complain and brightened up right away.
じゃあデートは明日ってことで楽しみにしてるから。
Ah, me too. My face began to relax as I thought about it. Tomorrow I'd have to be the perfect escort. The next day, I woke up earlier than usual and nervously paced around my room. I wonder if this is okay. I checked out how I looked for the umpteenth time and checked the time on my phone. It was still a little early. I can't make her wait for me. I checked my clothes one last time, then left the apartments. Our first date. I'm so nervous. We'd gone places together before, but never as a couple. I hoped Akane would enjoy herself.
ごめん、お待たせ。
Akane came flying out of nowhere, taking me by surprise. No, you're right on time. The old Akane probably would have been late. It was a little thing, but it really showed how much she had progressed.
なんだ、ショーが待ってたのが見えたから遅刻したのかと思った。
You didn't need to rush. I wouldn't have been mad if you were late.
でもさ、こう気持ちの問題？待たせてると悪いなーって思っちゃうわけ。
Well, I see what you're saying, but I remembered that it was our first date and took a good look at Akane. She was wearing her regular clothes, but for some reason she looked 100 times cuter.
なに？寝癖でもついてる？どこかおかしい？
No, not at all. Just the opposite. You look even cuter than you usually do.
いつもと変わらない服だよ。
No, really. You look wonderful.
そう？ショーにそうやって言われると嬉しいよ。 ショーもいつもよりずっとかっこいいよ。
Akane said to me shyly, her face red. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so embarrassed I looked away.
ああ、ショーが顔そらした。
Well, you know, it's hard not to get embarrassed when you tell me I look good right to my face. Sorry, I didn't mean anything.
私は思ったこと口にしただけだよ。それより、はい。
She held out her hand. So, that's what she wanted. Like this? I twined my fingers in hers and held her hand.
てりゃ。
Whoa! Grasping my hand, Akane gave me a jerk and suddenly we were arm in arm.
これで完璧。
It was so sudden. But now I could enjoy the feel of her even more, and despite the embarrassment, it was fantastic. So then, off we go! It tasted good, but best of all is, arm in arm, Akane and I made our way to the shopping street. When we got there, people on the street saw us with our arms linked like that and yelled out at us. It ruined the mood. To them, Akane only said,
私の魅力でショーがメロメロになったからね。
I just listened with a wry smile as Akane yelled out gleefully at my side. The people passing by finally settled down, and we got a break. The people around here are real gossips. Huh? Are you okay, Akane? Akane was frowning unhappily.
別に。私だけ浮かれて話をしてて、バカみたいって思っただけ。
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to leave you hanging. I was just kind of embarrassed.
恋人なんだから、そこは相槌打つとか賛成してほしかったのに。
Oh, I'm really sorry.
悪いと思ってる？
Oh, of course I do.
じゃあキスして。そしたら許してあげる。
Akane closed her eyes and puckered her small pink mouth, bringing her face close to mine. But a kiss? Right there in front of everyone? I can't right here, but is this good enough? Instead of a kiss, I gave her a gentle pet on the head, and Akane broke out in a smile.
仕方ないからこれで許してあげる。
I tell you something, this pet on the head thing. I mean, like I said, these novels are written for like the younger crowd, and you know that is something that you maybe do to a child, but I wouldn't like pet the head of my girlfriend. And it's just slightly insulting, really. Looks like I got off easy, but you really are amazing.
どうしたの突然。
All those people calling out to you like that, being so nice, so rare.
そうなのかな。
Yeah, they all must like you so much.
今まで声をかけられるのが普通だと思ってたけど、それは違うんだ。
Well, people don't check up on those they don't like.
そっか。私が気づいてなかっただけで、いろんな人たちによくしてもらってたんだ。
Alright, why don't we stop it there? This is Audapostrophe. You've been watching LoveKami, Useless Goddess, on Nintendo Switch. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.